This is Smithy.tv.
I'm Kenny Robinson. This is Breaking Down the News. I'm having a ball today, just talking about everything with my old pal Chris Finn. He's been an award-winning writer for people like Rick Mercer. In his day, he was probably the hottest, the best stand-up comic, best MC on the stand-up circuit here in Canada. Chris and I on the road, we had many laughs and probably should have got arrested at least twice.
I think in Sudbury once, remember Brian Hart and I, we attacked a Coke machine because we thought it called you the N-word.
Yeah, the Coke machine called me a nigger, and Hart was always a mad dog anyway.
Yeah, and then somehow, I don't know what happened, but then we thought you said something. So we tackled you, and then you threw us around like pillows, cushions.
Well, what happened, I don't know why, but the two of you decided you're going to wrestle me to the ground in the room.
I think it was good weed.
And I don't know what it was, but, and you're both jumping on me and everything.
We challenged you, that's right.
Yeah.
Because you were talking tough about something.
No, I was minding my own business
as
usual.
In our minds, you said something. Brian and I could get pretty
Brian, and
co-conspiratorial.
you look at each other like, who is he to think he doesn't have to answer to a Coke machine?
Yeah.
So, but the thing I remember the best was there was this aluminum plate that covered the air conditioner to keep the wind out.
I remember that part.
And I took that out and I whacked you both over the top of the head with it.
That
and you
hurt.
both calmed the fuck down instantly. It was great.
I think we went back to the bar after that.
And then there was that lady's purse that Unmentionables were done with.
I don't remember that.
Oh, we peed in this purse that was left on the floor underneath the table.
I don't think. I had a bladder issue.
Well,
Did I really?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just you.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna,
And those were the days, my friend.
Oh, absolutely. That's when we were
in Sudbury, though, that's a pretty common thing to do.
Well, I just remember the one guy at the bar when I went to get his drinks going, I don't like you city guys coming here taking our women.
Remember that gig? That was really bad for that. I still think that one night Todd Bertuzzi threatened to. I look back at my mind's eye because you had to watch it there, and Sudbury was really bad.
Yeah.
You would always, and this is rare, you would always get hit on there, and you had to be very dubiously. You had to be very careful.
That's the ex-girlfriend of the Sudbury Wolves team captain.
Yeah,
what?
And I don't think Todd Bertuzzi will hear this, but if it wasn't him, I apologize.
He's too busy crippling guys hitting him from behind anyway. He's got no time to worry about a couple of smart-ass old comics.
Yeah, he probably, but I remember that in Sudbury, you'd always get some note, meet me at the thing, like some bar down and you'd never go because you figured it'd be an ambush.
An ambush or something. But it was always great, though, because that was one of the rewards of going to Sudbury, because there was that 5-hour drive when they only had a one-lane highway.
That was a long drive. I remember you and I driving up with Ian Sirota once, and we were listening to Junior Brown. And he would have none of it. He was literally agog. Like, you guys are joking, right? Like, take that off. And we're like, nah, you should hear what's coming up after this.
Oh, man, because I'm a highway patrol.
Yeah, and this is about as hip as it's going to get.
But the one cool thing about Sudbury is I guess people there had economic problems. And Sudbury was one of the best towns for secondhand books and secondhand records.
That's right. And there were a couple of record stores. That's right. Vinyl stores. Yeah.
Yep. And that's why I decided to wheeze into this.
You're a big vinyl guy.
Well, I'm an old vinyl guy.
I'm an old vinyl guy.
And now my youngest daughter, my oldest daughter's in radio. But she's not on air. She does promotions. So now she's into nailing all the album covers to the wall as decoration.
Okay, that's legitimate.
And whereas my youngest daughter has picked up the guitar, so she's all about the riff now.
I can't believe I said that's legitimate.
Well,
that's a vinyl snobby thing. But I'm not one of those. Are you like you don't strike me as like a vinyl guy who's like, like on Queen West, there's all those places where you can spend $80 on the Zappa.
That ain't happening.
No, part of the joy of vinyl is it's $2.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you get home and it's warped, but I'm gonna play it anyway.
Yeah, or I'll make an ashtray out of this.
Well, that's the thing. I've never learned how to do that. I just said keep on playing.
I don't know how you do that. I don't even smoke. So, but I like vinyl you buy for the cover a lot of the time. I mean, you'll buy a record because.
Oh, you can't open up a CD and have all that good stuff on the inside. Remember when the album covers used to open up?
Well, and the sound it makes if you vibrate it, like even that's pleasing. I just like it's the ceremony, it's like
the rituals of it.
The rituals of it, it's like making a martini or
I mean, you may be able to do a line of blow off a CD case, but it wasn't the same for rolling a joint, and then you had to shake all the seeds off the top of it, and it just rolled down the crack into
I think if you're into blow, you're not affording CDs anyway.
Well,
You have other uses for your money.
well, you're trying to carry your little baggie inside the CD because you're undercover.
Or it's the rack of CDs you just stole from someone to buy more blow.
Your girlfriend that she'll never forgive you.
Oh God.
But so the thing is, there's a big
Horrible
revival
drug.
now.
Don't do cocaine.
No.
Anybody.
Remember, I tried to convince you to sell blood when we were in Buffalo, so we had extra money for blow.
I do recall that. Was that with
Tommy Cox?
It was Tommy Cox. I don't think I was afraid of that. I thought I was kind of like, how much money do we really need to get? I was kind of more worried about the facilities we'd have to go to.
That you said we got 2 shows. We're going to be tired. You're concerned about if we sold a pint of plasma that we wouldn't have the energy to do the 2 shows.
Was that in Yapatkoto Park?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah. And my whole logic was that we don't need fucking energy. We're going to have cocaine. And,
you had energy to burn in those, and I was always like, especially I get so nervous playing the States. But you always had adrenaline when it came to showtime, and I would be usually not that.
Just staring over, looking for what could be trouble.
Remember the first time I played Buffalo? I used to get really scared going to the States.
Our agent told me to make sure I took care of you.
The first time I went, I think it was with Macalee's though, or Al and George, I can't remember. But when I was growing up in Ottawa, there used to be commercials for Colt 45 malt liquor.
Yeah.
And I went up to the bartender and I said, I've always wanted to try Colt 45, and he took a Colt 45 pistol from under the bar and put it on the bar and was smiling at me because he knew I was like a Canuck. And I remember going, wow, okay, no, just the beer, please.
Well,
hey, wow.
See, now, if I had asked that, I would have been told that, I'm sorry, but this is a white man's bar, and you won't be able to get that type of beverage here.
I think Buffalo's a little better than that, but,
No, Colt 45 is just for the brothers. You got to go to certain neighborhoods and buy Colt 45. That was strictly a ghetto drink.
Really? It's good.
Well, that was good because they had more of that alcohol content in it than all the other stuff. It was a malt liquor.
Oh, that's right.
That's why they kept it. They sold it to the blacks so they could drink it when shooting each other. I mean, that was part of their marketing. Billy D. Williams.
That was in a big boardroom. Gentlemen, as they're doing up their cufflinks. Guys,
it was like in The Godfather.
How do we come up with
like in The Godfather. We'll sell it to the coloreds because they have no soul.
Don't want it near schools. I don't want it.
I don't want our kids drinking it.
Oh, God.
So anyway, but so like I say, so my daughter's into the whole vinyl thing now, and now they say because used vinyl is now coming back.
Big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can buy record players now. Like for Christmas, I got my daughter one of those portable record machines.
The Crosleys and the TX.
Where they've remade up all the shit like they used to be a Lloyd's or something you used to have back in the day.
They should have with the penny taped to the tone arm. Remember
Well, they got it, or fake pennies because there's no more pennies.
That's right. Or something like that looks like a little plastic penny.
And I thought my son was the most ignorant human being in the world when I showed him a 45.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
does he know what the thing in the middle? Remember the thing that looked like a bread clip?
Yeah. Well, there's that. Then there's a permanent round one that you could just stick on your.
That your turntable should come with.
And my son's looking the hole like, well, I just got this big hole. Well, back in the 70s, we'd get high and we'd put our penises through there, son. And he, really, Dad? I says, no. So, once or twice. But that's if you're going to a party and you had a stack of 45s.
Right. Remember the ones that would drop? You'd have like a stack of 45s or records.
Yeah.
And the pre-tone arm would come over, and they would.
You can't get those now. Now, if you have a turntable, you got to get up and flip that record over.
I know they don't make those. That's a real drag. But I love playing vinyl. It's my go-to.
So who are you listening to these days?
I'm listening to a lot of jazz.
Yeah.
I'm listening to a lot of
like who with jazz?
A lot of Lester Young.
Okay.
Coleman Hawkins.
Yeah. Listen to Prez.
Listening to a lot of old punk always. Always Clash. Always listening to rediscovering the Clash. And
like now you're playing the cuts you used to skip before and catching something.
I'm playing a lot of combat rock because it wasn't my favorite. That's the tour I saw them in, but I'm really liking that record again. Mm-hmm. I liked it. Now it's becoming one of my favorites.
Are you feeling like they were so much further ahead of their time with what they were saying then than?
I think they were. I don't think musically, maybe not musically, but like lyrically, they were light years ahead. No one had blended politics and poetry like that with such fervor. I like that. I know Joe Strummer said that they were, if someone brought a balalaika into the room, they'd be like, I want the biggest balalaika. They were very adventurous musically and stuff. And, they were a great band. They were a terrific band. Other stuff am I listening to? Old Doobie Brothers. That's kind of weird.
Like before Blackwater? Like around Blackwater type? Before Minute to Minute? Before...
like Captain and Me?
Okay, what was the name of the singer they had that became the big shot all by himself? Then he had the solo career.
Oh,
after?
Michael McDonald.
Yeah, so you like him pre-Mike McDonald?
Yeah, that guy's voice always sort of weirded me out.
That's when it became yacht rock
It was
with him.
total yacht rock.
Yeah.
And I think it was Pat Simmons was the singer before, and I
It
always
was like China Grove
Yeah.
and Blackwater and all that kind of stuff.
I always kind of liked his voice. If it's possible to sound too sincere singing.
Okay.
Pat Simmons sounds too sincere. It's almost like impossible to be in a bad mood when you hear it.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, for some reason, a lot of stuff from the '70s, kind of listening to. I think it's a spring thing. Mm-hmm. You know, I can't listen to that stuff in the winter because I'll put my head through a window.
Why is that?
Because it's too hopeless in the winter. It reminds you too much that spring is far, you know. So especially these last couple of winters, which have been brutal,
long and grueling. And...
It never used to bug me. Like I used to be just
Well,
water
sure,
off a
now
duck's
you're
back.
more apt to slip and hurt your hip now. Than
Which I do at the beginning of every first snowfall. Do you do that?
No.
I get the first wipeout out of the way.
Oh,
And,
see, I'm pretty good at not falling because the minute, like everybody else, the colder it is, the longer I go for walks.
Right.
You know, I love walking the streets when it's 30 below at 2 in the morning because...
What's wrong with you?
Oh, well, first of all, there's nobody out there. I ain't got to fear anybody.
Okay.
And even the cops aren't even stopping to go, what's this dude doing out here on the middle of the street by
They
himself?
stop and like roll down and throw you mittens.
You
Hey.
know, they just go, and then maybe some kind of warped Winnipeg pride, but
That's true. You're a Winnipegger.
But I figure out what it is, man. It reminds me of walking to get to see a woman back in the day. I'm making a booty call.
Okay.
You know, now there is no booty call for me to make anymore.
I see.
You know, that nobody's interested. But I'm still, in my mind, I'm 22 again or 19 again, and I'm walking to some neighborhood or somewhere where, because I don't have cab fare because I drank and I spent a quarter and she said I could
Right.
come on over.
That's healthy. That's a good thing.
You know, if I could find a woman 5 miles in each direction of where I live, I'd be down to about 180. I'd be walking my ass off all winter. Have to walk there and walk back.
That's okay. I'm going to keep that in mind. By 2 in the morning, I've been asleep for 3 hours, but I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah, no, when it's cold and that wind's blowing, and
I don't walk around in Parkdale a lot. In the day, it's fine. At night, in the weekends, a lot of the 905 kids are coming in. And
well, really, it's not the well, Parkdale's been kind of regentrified, hasn't it?
yeah, and it's sort of getting a bit dinky. Regulars. I've been there 10 years, but I'm kind of a yuppie to a lot of people who have been there for years and years. I actually heard this walking in the street a little while ago. The 2 guys were passing me, and one guy, I heard this, you get snippets of conversation.
Yeah.
One guy said to the other, "Oh, no, I can't go back to that guy's place. Last time I was there, I shot his mom with a pellet gun." Like I was thinking, well, she probably said something, but like it was just one of those weird.
Even worse if his buddy held, here, shoot my mom.
Yeah, well, it was just kind of, what's the backstory? What happened?
And it's not like you want to ask him.
No.
No.
That was, I believed him. No doubt about it. But it sounded remorseful, so
Wow.
that's good.
Sure, because he knows he can't go back there.
Sure, he's banned from Basement Fun and whatever they were doing.
I always love hearing the stories of the ne'er-do-wells, especially when they make the paper. Like a couple of years ago, there was 2 friends, and they were drinking, and they started to argue about which one had spent more time in jail, which one had the best criminal record. So
Well, that's valid.
The one guy wound up beating the other guy to death over it. I says, well, guess who wins?
Yeah,
guess who's going to
Put
jail?
him on top. That's definitely the snake eating its own tail.
That was a game you were losing by 1 point, and the guy kicked a field goal.
Sure. You kind of set him up for that one.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? Then you beat him to death. That's sure. Yeah.
So one of the best times I remember having, we went down to Chicago for Wayne Termel's stag, and that was almost like a Hunter S. Thompson trip.
That was really fun.
We had too many human beings stuck into a Cadillac than should have ever been allowed.
Yeah, we went through Gary, Indiana. I remember that.
Well, yeah, you had to go through Gary, and
Making Hamilton look like Fiji.
Hamilton was Las Vegas compared to Gary. You know?
Gary is a really scary. That's the scariest place I've ever driven through.
And it's got one of the largest murder per capita rates in America.
And suicide, I would imagine.
Well, sure, because all you can do is look and hear about the wonderment that is Chicago, but you're still stuck in Gary.
Sure, and it's really, really dirgy, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it used to be a still city. I mean, that was when America used to work, when they used to progress, when they used to produce stuff. That was
it's a manufacturing hub.
yeah,
sure.
So speaking of manufacturing hubs, it goes back to our love of Tom Waits. We had that great time. We had about half a dozen of his comics went and saw Tom Waits one time at Massey.
I still have the ticket stubs from that. It was 1988.
Okay.
I believe, wasn't it? 88 or 89.
Something like that.
We had great Frank's Wild Years.
Yeah.
And we had great seats. I remember that. He played for 3 nights. I went to the first and the last.
Okay.
And it was a terrific show.
Oh, it was super. I mean, didn't even have an opening act. He came out with a guy came out on stage with a player piano and stuck the roll in, and it played.
I like that when the house lights were still on.
Yeah.
And they started to crank up, so it lent this immediacy. People started scurrying to their seats, and he opened up with "Hang On, St. Christopher," and he really kicked it. Like, I didn't think he was going to be that rocking.
Oh yeah, he came out stomping. And
yeah. Oh, he's a really interesting. He doesn't tour anymore, I don't think.
He will. He'll do. Actually, I was gonna get tickets last time he came to town, but my daughter was in the mother's womb.
Yes.
And I just had this great nightmare that my wife at the time would go into labor the night of the show.
Right.
And I got to decide. Am I going to be there when my baby's born? Or am I going to see Tom Waits? So I said, don't do it to yourself, man. Don't put yourself in that position and just don't buy the ticket. So I think I bought, I think he released 2 CDs at one time during that week or something like that.
At Massey Hall. It was just great.
Yeah, it was you know.
It was really fun. And
you had bought, your whole wardrobe was a Tom Waits collection.
I like retro.
Yeah,
but
you had the little pointy-toed ankle-high shoes and, the shark skin.
I still have some of that stuff. Doesn't fit.
Yeah.
But I gave a lot of it away. But back then, the idea was with retro, it was so cheap. Like, I started wearing stuff like that in Ottawa because at the St. Vincent de Paul, you could buy great suits for $3-4.
Yeah.
There wasn't a retro thing then, and we just me and my crew all just started doing that.
You was hip before it was hipster.
I make no such claim. I was cheap before it was cheapster.
Or you're an OG hipster.
Yeah, and then you stop wearing it when it's. I started to make some money, and you buy real suits.
And also when the belly gets a little bit bigger than the buttons allow.
Well, that's it, and that happens very fast. That's true. Yeah.
So. But anyway, we're out of time for this one, so I think we covered quite a bit.
We ended on, oh my God, we're fat. Okay, that's really.
Well, that we got to slam the hipster generation once again. So anytime.
I think I slam them because I'm jealous. I'm big enough to admit that.
Oh,
I'm jealous of youth.
Well, youth, but they're not spending it well. They're wasting it.
Well, I also don't know you're going to be our age before you know it.
So
go to the States and take a shot at it.
Get out while you're young. It's a death trap. It's a suicide rap.
That's right.
Anyway, speaking of rap, it's time we do it. This has been my friend and my guest, Chris Finn. I'm Kenny Robinson. This has been Breaking Down the News.
Great to see you.
Good to see you, baby.